Go to economics, positive economics, chapter 3. Okay. So chapter 3 is about economic, social, and environmental sustainability. So start. Yeah, the first one, they said sustainable. What does sustainable mean? It simply means you are consistent at a certain level. You're able to keep that consistency for a certain level. That means whatever you do now, you continue to do it, and it doesn't affect others. That is what sustainable is about. So I wrote here, it means things can be kept at a certain level. That means you're able to do things and you're able to maintain the same level all through. That is what sustainable is. Then we have sustainable development. For sustainable development, we're talking about decisions that we make now, which we must ensure that it does not affect those coming after us. So decisions of now must not affect the future generations. That is sustainable development. Does it make sense there? Okay. So for sustainable development, I wrote, this implies to the act of making decisions that will not affect the future generations. So what are the challenges of achieving sustainable development goals? Okay. So the main challenges are the first one, international instability. So one of the, sustainable development means your country is able to, to consistently perform things or do things in the same way for the rest forever. That's sustainable development. But the problem about this is that there could be political instability. So if there is war, if there is poor governance, all these things will affect the way we do things. So look at the first one here. International instability, political instability, poor access to education, and poverty. So when there's lack of education, when there's poverty, when there's war within the country or in the country, how can you maintain a standard way of doing things? It's difficult because everything is not in order. People are not educated. And when people are not educated, how do you want them to know the right from the wrong? Yeah. So that's the first challenge about sustainable development goals. We want to make the society a better place. We want to increase our output without jeopardizing the future generation. But these things, we can do them if the country is stable, if people have access to education, and if there's no poverty. But with poverty, lack of education, political instability, it becomes difficult to achieve sustainable development goals. Do you understand the first one here? The second one, implementing the goals. Yeah, this is what we want to achieve. But it is easier said than done. Yeah, we can say that this is what we want to achieve. But can we really actually do it? There are other factors that will not allow us to do it. So there are external factors that are beyond our control. So here, implementing the goal. To execute the aims and goals are difficult because of different needs. So we have different needs. There are different external factors that are beyond our control. So these things will affect how we want to achieve sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goals means we are able to make our environment a very conducive one. We're able to increase output without jeopardizing our resources. We don't use all our resources. We are able to use renewable resources, renewable energy. These are what sustainable development goals are. But to achieve these things, it is difficult because at every point in time, there are different needs for people. So because there are different needs, it means how do we want to attend or do what everybody wants? It's difficult. And because we cannot do what everybody wants, it simply means that we cannot achieve sustainable development goals. Because sustainable development goals is for all, everybody. But can we make a decision that affects everybody positively? No, some people will still not be happy. That is implementing it. So it can be said, it is easier said than to be done. Yeah. The third one, coordination of governance between nation states. Government of different countries have different approaches to sustainability. Nigeria is a country, Libya is a country. They have different governments. They have different governance, way of governing. So their approach will be different. They don't have the same population. They don't have the same resources. I want them to do the same thing. It is not possible. So different governments have different approaches when it comes to sustainable development goals. Especially when you look at African countries. They don't think about sustainable development goals because there's poverty. So, we have resources. Let's use them let's sell them. Let's use them so that we can have money. so that we can develop our country. So they will think about developing the country, not if the resources are going to finish or not. Because there's poverty in that country already. And what they have is what they can use to get whatever they need. Do you understand? So coordination of governance between nation states differ. Because governments of different countries have different needs at any point in time. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So that's about sustainable development goals. Do you have any questions about it? So go to pillars of sustainability. So we go to pillars of sustainability. We already know what sustainability is. Maintaining a certain level. That is sustainability. So what are the pillars of sustainability? What are those things that we need to have sustainability? There are three pillars. We have economical, social, and environmental. So we're going to start with social. For social sustainability, it implies the ability of the social system to behave in a manner that increases social well-being. So for social sustainability, it's simply talking about we able to make decisions that will have a positive impact in the society, and not just the society of now, the society coming after now. Do you understand? So social sustainability is about our social system, like the family, the friends, the parents, making decisions that will not affect those coming after them. That is social sustainability. Do you understand social sustainability? Yeah. It's about the social well-being. And when we talk about the social system, the family, the friends, these are social system. So decisions they make must not have decisions they make for today must not affect those coming after now. That is social sustainability. Do you understand social sustainability? Yeah. Okay. Then we have the second one, environmental sustainability. For environmental sustainability, we're talking about the ability of the environmental system to support a defined level of behavior indefinitely. So for the environmental sustainability, we're talking about the environment. Because as soon as the economy is growing, as soon as we produce, as soon as we are increasing output, we are using resources. Yeah. So how do we maintain the environment? We must ensure that the environment continues to be palatable for us now and for those coming after us. So that's why we said the environmental system must ensure that they maintain a level of behavior that is the same all through. And when we talk about environment, we're talking about how resources are being used, because resources come from the environment. Yes or no? Yeah. So the first thing we need to talk about is resource depletion. We must not finish the resources. Whatever resources we are using now, we must not finish them. So we should start thinking about using non-renewable resources. Because if we don't use non-renewable resources like wind, like solar, the energy consumption we have, the energy we have will finish because they are non-renewable. So we have to start thinking about using renewable ones. Do you understand? So we start thinking about using renewable one, because if we continue to use the non-renewable, they will finish. And that is resource depletion. Resources will finish up because we use them all. We are using them, they are not coming back. They are gone. So what do we start doing? We start thinking about an environmental system that will support sustainability. And instead of using up resources, we start thinking about using renewable resources. Do you understand? Yeah. That's resource depletion. And we have resource degradation. For resource degradation means the natural resources become less productive. Oh, this is a farm. They used to plant in this farm, and when they plant on this farm, it germinates. But now it's not germinating as it used to germinate. That means there's what? Resource degradation. That's why I say it occurs when natural resources become less productive. Natural resources are supposed to be productive, but when they become less productive, it means resource degradation. So these two things are part of environmental unsustainability. So for us to sustain the environment, we have to start thinking about using renewable resources and not using all the natural resources. Because if we do use them, it will finish. So without thinking positively about the environment, we're going to have resource depletion, we're going to have resource degradation. So to avoid resource depletion, resource degradation, we have to start thinking about renewable. Is it clear? And the third one is economic sustainability. So this implies the ability of an economy to allocate resources in a way that it won't affect the future generation. So whatever resources, so what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. We have to start thinking about, it's about decision, but this decision we're going to make about what, how, and for whom must not affect those coming after us. That is economic sustainability. So our economy must grow. But because of growing, we must not deprive those coming in the future of what they are supposed to enjoy in terms of what is being produced in the economy. So those are the three pillars of sustainable development: social, environmental, and economical. Any question about that? Okay. So they said, yeah, how are the three sustainability connected? We're going to talk about that after. So we've talked about resource depletion, which simply means using up resources. So for us not to use up resources, we think about renewable. The resource degradation, when the natural resources become less productive. So what do? We have to maintain them. Without maintaining them, it becomes difficult. I think it's clear, right? Yeah. So that takes us to how the three pillars of sustainability are connected. So when we talk about their connectivity, we are simply talking about their interdependence. So we need the three of them to work hand in hand. Do you understand? So when it says how are the three sustainability connected? They are connected because of interdependency. So we need social, we need economic. Social needs economical needs environmental. So the three of them, they cannot do without each other. That is what sustainability, or that is what the connection is about. I think it's clear. Yeah. So go to how to address. So how do we address the paradox between economic growth and sustainability? There's economic growth, which means output is increasing over time. But how do we maintain economic growth and sustainability at the same time? Because economic growth, one of the problems about economic growth is that resources will be finished. Environment will be damaged. So how are we going to balance things? That's what they meant, right? How do we balance economic growth with sustainability? So what are those things we can do? One, use non-renewable resources. So instead of finishing up resources, use non-renewable resources. Do you understand? Number two, invention of technology, which minimizes pollution. So instead of us using machines that will bring about pollution, start thinking about machines that would reduce pollution. The third one, invest heavily in energy substitutes. So instead of using fuel, start thinking about wind. Instead of using fuel, start thinking about solar. So these ones will replace energy. And the last one, recycling. Don't just use it and dump it. When you use them again. So these are ways in which we can balance between economic growth and sustainability. Is it clear? Yeah. So to address the paradox between economic growth and sustainability, we do these things. Is it clear? Yeah. Do you get it or not? Yeah.
What about the third point?
Yeah, I'm going to explain that. Okay, so the point is how to address the paradox between economic growth and sustainability. Economic growth means output is increasing. Yeah. But how do we balance this without affecting sustainability? So non-renewable resources means instead of us using up resources, we use renewable one. Use renewable resources. Use renewable resources. Two, invention of technology, which minimizes pollution. So we start thinking about technology that would reduce pollution. Gotcha. The third one is we should invest in energy substitutes like wind, solar. Instead of using electricity from an electricity generator, we use solar to generate electricity. It's renewable. Recycling. Exactly. That means we start using resources and we don't finish it. When we use it, the bottle, use it again. Maintain it. That's where. So which one is it? Do you understand that? Yeah. So every energy substitutes are things that we can do. So instead of using electricity, use solar to generate electricity. So that's about that. I think it's clear. Yeah. Okay. So go on to Indicators of economic growth. Are you there? So when we talk about indicators of economic growth, we're talking about things that we see that make us to understand that, oh, the economy is growing. So what are those factors? What are those things we see that tells us the features that makes us to know, understand that, oh, the Libyan economy is increasing or is growing. Oh, Irish economy is growing. So what are those things? The first one is increase in GDP. And GDP is what? The measurement of your PPC. So the measurement of your country's output will determine if your country is growing or not. Do you get the point here? Yeah. So, oh, last year Libya produces 5,000 barrels of oil. Oh, this year they produce 7,000 barrels of oil. So compare this year with last year. So Libya economy is growing. So that is GDP. Do you understand increase in GDP here? The second one. Social cohesion and inequality. Income inequality explains how income and wealth is distributed unequally within an economy. So you can know if an economy is growing with how people are related within the society and how the level of income is. What's the gap between the rich and the poor? The gap between the rich and the poor is about income inequality. So how is wealth, income distributed in the country? That would also determine if the economy is growing or not. But most of the time, when we talk about inequality, we might talk more about it when we are using GDP per capita. GDP per capita. It means GDP divided by population. They are not there yet anyway, but just something they can know. So we can use GDP per capita to know the level of income of individuals in a country. But all in all, to know if the economy is growing or not, we can know through social cohesion and inequality. If inequality is increasing in the country, it means the country is not growing. But if inequality is reducing, it means the country is growing. So the gap between the rich and the poor determines if the country is growing or not. Do you get that or not, please? So what are the effects of inequality? So when there's inequality in the country, how does it affect the country? Number one, it reduces the gap, it reduces growth of an economy as people will lack resources to be educated and skilled. So I'm going to explain that now. So because income is not equal, some people do not have income. Because they don't have income, it means they cannot have access to education because education is expensive. Get the point here? If income is not equal, income cannot be equal anyway, but if the gap between the rich and the poor are so much, it means low income earners would not be able to have access to quality education. And because they don't have access to quality education, they will be trapped in the poverty trap because they don't have income, they don't have money to educate, they don't have money to spend on education that will lift them out of poverty. So they will be stuck in that poverty trap because they lack education and skills. You know, you need education and skills to get a job. It's only when you get a job that you have income. But now you don't even have education and skills. So that means you'll be there in the poverty trap. Two, it shows social unfairness as people will feel inferior because the gap between the rich and the poor is so long. People that are not rich will feel inferior. They will like, we're not part of this society. So, oh, the society is made for the rich. Oh, we cannot be part of the society. That is social unfairness. You get it? They believe that the society is not fair for them. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Yeah. And the third one, it leads to inequality in opportunity as those with low income may stay in poverty trap. If there's inferiority, oh, you feel I cannot go there because it's for the rich people. So that means whatever opportunity the rich people have, you cannot have it. So inequality in opportunity will bring about inequality in income. Because there's income inequality, it means you cannot get closer to those that are rich because you are poor. We are still within the poverty trap. So to leave the poverty trap, you need income, but you don't have the income. So that means you won't be able to see the opportunity that are within the rich people. So these are the problems about income inequality. Do you get it? The first one, you lack education. It reduces your level of education and skills. The second one, you feel inferior. And the third one means there's going to be loss of opportunity. You won't be able to have opportunity that those that are rich have. And stay in the poverty. Yeah, and you continue to stay there because you don't have opportunity to move out of poverty. When you don't have opportunity to move out of poverty, that means you are still in poverty trap, generation to generation. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So how can government reduce inequality? Because inequality is a problem. Government has to solve it. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So for government to solve inequality, one, they can use progressive taxation. And for progressive taxation, it means government will charge high income earners more than low income earners. Are you with me, please?
Yeah.
So government will charge high income earners more than low income earners. So the more income you earn, the more tax you pay, and that will be distributed to those low income earners. That's the first one. Two, social welfare expenditure by financially helping those in low income group. So government can also give social welfare benefit like unemployment benefit to those that have low income or that are low income earners. Government can also give them money so that they can at least maintain a certain level. The third one, spending on healthcare. Healthcare is expensive. So if government is spending, if there is public hospital, it means those that do not have a lot of income would go to the public hospital, and that would allow them to keep the money they're supposed to spend on healthcare for other things, and that would improve their standard of living. Get the point here? So government will spend on healthcare. They won't have to spend on healthcare. Spending on education. Education is expensive too. One of the problems we have is education here. So if government spends on education, it means low-income earners would not have to spend on quality education because government is giving education. So that would allow them to move out of poverty trap. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
And the last one, minimum wage legislation. Government should set laws that would not allow businesses to pay less than certain amount to people. So the lowest rank officer should get this amount of money. So that means businesses will not be able to pay them below it, and that would allow them to have more income. So these are things government could do to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor. Progressive taxation, social welfare benefits, spending on healthcare, spending on education, minimum wage. So these things will reduce the gap between the rich and the poor. Is it making sense? Any question about that? So we have sustainable development for individuals, businesses, and government, which is the last thing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we talk about sustainable development for individuals, government, and businesses. For individuals, what can they do for sustainable development? They should make the right choice by making decisions that enhance sustainability. So whatever decisions we make, we should make the right choice. Whatever choice we make now, we should ensure that it does not affect those coming after us. That is individuals. For businesses, they should act in a way that will increase efficiency by using technology instead of polluting the earth. Government, they should financially support firms that adopt sustainable practices. So businesses want to adopt sustainable practices, but it's expensive. So government should encourage them by subsidizing for them. So government should financially help businesses so that businesses can maintain a sustainable development goal, which will also have impact on individuals. So government has a lot of things to do. So government should financially help support firms that adopt sustainable practices and make legislation that forces firms to think about sustainability. So those businesses that do not want to think about sustainable development goal should be forced by laws, and no one is above the law. So government should do that. Is it clear? Any question about chapter 3? Done.